Welcome to this Vanguard Tactics battle report, and today what we've got is the Ultramarines versus the Drukhari in this epic clash 2,000 point strike force using the new 9th edition Warhammer rules and also using the GT pack missions. So stay tuned to see this battle report unfold. So if you're new to Vanguard Tactics and you're unsure what the battle reports that we do are all about, then I'm going to quickly give you a brief. We're going to show you the deployment, the armies, the mission, and we're going to go through every single play that we decided to do from a competitive standpoint. Myself and all of my team really play competitively. However, we do like to win in the right way. So we're not the guys that are going to try and win at all cost, and we want to teach you as much as we possibly can about the way that we play our armies to help you when you take your armies to the tabletop. So we're going to be running a Strike Force 2,000 point game using the new rules from 9th edition and also the missions from the GT book. So I'm going to go over the mission in a little bit more detail. We'll then break down the armies, we'll then cover what secondaries we pick, and then we'll show you turn by turn exactly what happens when these two armies meet. Now we've got Marnius Calgar leading the Ultramarines and Drazar leading the Drukhari, and over on Vanguard Tactics Plus, which is our paid for service channel, then we're going to swap over who goes first, and then you're going to be able to see what happens when the attacker is made to be the defender and the defender is made to be the attacker, which is really important in terms of competitive play to help you determine whether you want to go first or second and what you should do if you are forced to maybe take a turn that you don't want to. So again, at Vanguard Tactics, we really want to help you become a better player, and we're really going to help you in terms of teaching you why we go into all the moves that we do to help develop you to think a little bit more critically and help really get the most out of your armies. So up next is the player intro, and you're going to find out a little bit more about myself and Joe, and then we're going to cover our armies. But if you stay until the very end of this battle report, we're going to tell you how you can be in for a chance to win a massive 40k related giveaway. We've got an Indomitus box, a map, terrain, Catachan kernel. We've got loads of things, and at the end of this video we're going to show you how you can enter that. I'm Stephen, and I am the, I suppose, director of Vanguard Tactics, and I'm probably most famous for my recent wins with the Blood Angels. However, I have always been a big fan of the Ultramarines, and I took them to the SoCal Open last year. I did very, very well there, and I was really happy with my performance, and I really think that the Ultramarines can do really well in 9th edition. So I'm going to be running some of the big names from the Ultramarines, and I really feel like I've got the power with this list. I took it to the Vanguard Tactics Grand Series. I went 4-2. I played against some of the top players in the world at that event, and I'm really happy with how they stood up. So I actually think today I'm going to crush Joe with the Ultramarines, but we'll see. Joe might turn it around. We don't know that. So you'll meet Joe next, and then we'll crack on with the mission, and then I'll talk you through how my army works.
Hi there, it's Joe from Vanguard Tactics, and I am what Steve would call a tactical genius. He said it multiple times on the internet, so it must be true, because the internet does not lie, as we know. So I am bringing the Drukhari, my favourite army. This is the exact same army I took to the Vanguard Tactics Grand Series. I went 4-2 with it, and I was only 2 places behind Steve. He was there at 7th, 8th, then me at 9th. So I need to prove that I am just as good, if not better, by winning twice and smashing him into the ground.
So in my Ultramarines army, I have got 1 battalion. This is a 1,998 point list. It's all Ultramarines. And for the HQs, I'm rolling with Marnius Calgar as my warlord, who gives me 2 CPs. I've then got a lieutenant in Phobos armor. He also has the relic, the Seal of Oath, which allows me to reroll all hits and all wounds on a unit. I really like him because I can put him in Deep Strike for free. And also then I've got Chief Librarian Tigerius, and he's got Null Zone, Might of Heroes, and Veil of Time. Null Zone's going to be massive in this matchup as it removes invulnerable saves, and I know Joe's probably going to be running the Vexator Mask, so I can cast the Veil of Time, so I always fight first. He can make me fight last, but it kind of cancels each other out. They're my HQs. Then I've got 5 infiltrators. I've then got 5 plain intercessors with just bolt rifles, another 5 intercessors with bolt rifles, and then in the elite slot I've got 2 units of 5 aggressors, and they've all got the Boltstorm gauntlets. With Ultramarines, they can, when they're in there, tactical doctrine that they can then fire twice because they essentially remain stationary, providing I don't fall back or advance them. So I've got 2 units of 5 there, and I've got a Primaris Ancient. Now I spend 1 CP to make him a Chapter Ancient, and then I spend 1 CP from the Space Marine Codex to make him a Warlord. So the Warlord trait I give him is from Faith and Fury, which basically allows everybody to become objective secured within 3 inches, and then I've given him a relic so that he makes all auras increase by another 3, so I can become obsec at 6 inches, and then my banner works at 12 inches, so I can fire or fight back when I die within 12 inches of him, which is really, really good. So he's a real linchpin in this list. Then for the 3 fast attack, I've got 3 units of 3 Inceptors just with the assault bolters, and again these guys are great. They can deep strike for free and really help me get line breaker, engage on all fronts, or just help zone out the table. And then in the heavy support slot, I've got 3 units of 3 of the new Eradicators, and they've got the melter rifles, and obviously if they target the same unit they get to shoot twice, so they're basically pumping out 6 melter shots per turn, and these guys hit like a truck. So I'm really hoping these guys will do the damage on those Talos in this matchup. So that's the list, and over on Vanguard Tactics Plus I go over a real deep dive in how I deploy this army, so you can see exactly how I'm making every single decision in deployment and how I'm setting up turns 2 and 3 to make sure I've got a really successful game plan.
So I'm going to be running 2,000 points on the nose of Drukhari. I'm going to be running the triple patrol detachment. I believe it's called Space Raiders, or Real Space Raiders, or Raiding Party. There's a party, we're raiding, we're in space, and that's what we're doing. So the first attachment is a patrol of Blackheart, and I'm running an Archon on there, a bare bones unit of Cabalite Warriors, 2 units of 5 Incubi, and 3 Venoms. In the next patrol I have Drazar running a unit of 5 racks with him. There's another 5 Incubi, and then 2 units of 3 Talos with double macro scalpels and haywire blasters. And then the last attachment is another Prophets of Flesh detachment, which has got a Homunculus with the Vexator mask, and another unit of 5 racks, a unit of 3 Talos, and a Kronos. And it's a big, heavy hitting army. The Drazar obviously is going to lead the way with the Incubi. He gives them +1 to wound, and on the roll of a 6 to wound with an Incubi, they go to flat 3 damage, which is really good versus those aggressors and those eradicators because they've got 3 wounds, -3, so hopefully we can knock them off in one go. And then I've got the big bully unit of 9 Talos, backed up by the Homunculus with the Vexator mask, so if he chooses to charge in and fight me, I can pick those units to go last. And then the Kronos is backing all of those up, giving it reroll 1s to wound.
The secondary missions that I'm going to be picking are going to be the following 3. The first one is going to be Bring It Down. So every single Talos I kill, I score 2 points, and that goes the same with the Venom. So Joe has 9 Talos, 1 Kronos, that's 10. So as long as I kill most of that, I'm going to max out my 15 on that secondary. I'm also going to go for Raise the Banners. On this mission, there are 3 objectives which are very, very close to my deployment zone. I can easily get troops on there and I can raise those banners. And then because I have a lot of OBSEC units, I can basically stop Joe from stealing those off me. And the perfect run would be raising 3 banners, maintaining those 3 until the end of the game. And if I can stay on those 3 at the end of it as well, I'm going to max out the 15. It will be close. That's going to be probably the hardest one to score, but I'm going to go for that one. And then my third and final one is going to be While We Stand, We Fight. And that basically means my highest 3 units, which are, my highest 3 models, which are Marneus Calgar, Tigerius, and then also my company Ancient. If those 3 stay alive, then I'm going to score 5 points for each one, forcing Joe, if he wants to deny me any of those points, he really has to come aggressively into those characters. And I can use my aggressors, my Inceptors, and also my intercessors to keep them nice and safe. So they're my 3 secondaries. Like I said, I'd hopefully get 15 on the While We Stand, We Fight, hopefully get 15 on the Bring It Down, and then if I can get 9 out of Raise the Banners, I'll be pretty happy. And then as long as I do well on the primary, I'm going to score pretty well, I think. So we'll see, but I'm not sure what Joe's going to take yet, and we'll reveal those for you now.
My secondary picks for this army, it's a very simple one which I always take every single game. It's always served me well, and that is engage on all fronts. And then I'm going to take deploy scramblers. All I have to do is do an action with an infantry unit in my deployment zone in no man's land, and in Steve's deployment zone I've got deep striking unit of Cabalite warriors which can drop in anywhere I need them to, and I can also spend 2 command points on a unit of racks to remove them from the table at the end of movement phase and bring them back on within 6 inches of a table edge. So if Steve leaves a gap in his back line, I can quickly jump in there, do an action, get those points, and there's nothing he can do to stop them. Then the third one, it's always difficult with Drukhari in my list, and in the end I chose to go for grind them down. If I can get kill more 2, maybe 3 turns in a row, that's going to get me 9 points, and it's going to set me in good stead. It's going to be difficult. He has a lot of very small kind of cheap units, but they're tough and resilient. It's really willing to chew through, but if I can get it done, then that's going to score me quite big in the late game.
The mission we're going to be playing is from the Strike Force Grand Tournament pack, and we are doing the retrieval mission. So there are 6 objectives, and the objectives are placed before the terrain is set down. The 4 objectives that are in no man's land are placed 12 from the centre and then 8 from the middle line, and then the 2 which are in both players' deployment zones are 20 inches from the middle point. Now in this mission, the primary objectives are you will score 5 points if you hold 1 objective, and 10 points if you hold 2, and 15 if you happen to control more than your opponent. And this is scored at the end of each player's command phase, starting from battle round 2, capped at a maximum of 45 points. Both players will have to pick 3 secondaries from different categories. Each of those are worth 15 points to a maximum of 45 points as a collective, and then 10 battle points will also be awarded to both players as both armies are battle ready and make the painting standard. Now we are playing a hammer and anvil style deployment where both players are 24 inches away from each other. So the Ultramarines and the Drukhari are going to be fighting on this Arctic ice world, and all of the terrain is provided by Foreground Publishing, which has been co-designed with myself at Vanguard Tactics. Now we are using the ruin rules from the Grand Tournament pack, so the ruins will give light cover on the area. The bottom levels will be used as blocking line of sight and also obscuring if you are wholly behind the terrain. Now each of these ruins are also defendable, so there will be benefits whilst units are within the range that's required. The Arctic mat is also provided by JW Wargaming, and all the links to all of the terrain and the mats will be in the description below. And here we have the overview of what the battlefield's going to look like, along with the marked out deployment zones, the red and the blue for both players. The Ultramarines will be playing on the blue side and the Drukhari will be playing over on the red side. So over to deployment. Right guys, we're in the pre-game phase.
Yep.
We've deployed, armies are down.
Ready.
Hey, how are you feeling, Joe?
Well, it's never gone great,
Okay.
me and you facing off, normally for me. But today, after the event, we both went 4 and 2.
Yeah.
We're like,
It's like the 4 and 2 showdown.
yeah, like this is, I finished 30 points behind you. It's not a huge gap.
No,
So,
huge gap, no.
and I reckon I know my army well enough,
Okay.
inside out,
Yeah.
in the crucible of fire
Okay, yeah.
that was the tournament.
Yeah.
I reckon I've got the goods to
Take the ultras down.
take the ultras down.
Big chat right
There were some tough choices.
I think you're going to win this game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There were some tough choices for the secondaries. This mission is real difficult for both my army to pick secondaries and your army is an absolute nightmare.
I'm just going to get that really tiny violin, okay? Just
Yeah.
to play that for you, Joe, while you keep making excuses now. Are you just trying to get them in early? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that.
Because last time I picked I talked a real big game. A real big game.
Yeah.
And
Went horribly wrong.
yeah, went horribly wrong. Literally, almost immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, picked all the wrong secondaries.
So bad in which we didn't even release that battle report because you'd have switched off in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, it'd be like, we rolled off, Steve went first, I lost.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was actually because Joe picked the wrong secondaries.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've deployed the ever important roll off. Who is going first?
Yeah.
Now remember, on Vanguard Tactics Plus, we're going to swap over. So we're going to keep deployment exactly as they are. And then when we do the battle round, that goes on, or the game, sorry, that goes on Vanguard Tactics Plus, we're going to swap over who goes first. Because how you play offensively and defensively are very different.
Yep.
So, are you ready, Joe?
I am ready.
Now, you can't see this, you're going to have to trust us.
Yeah.
I've got the blue dice.
On the red dice.
Joe's on the reds. Here we go. I've rolled a 1.
I've also rolled a 1.
It's a big start from both of us.
It's the drama.
It's
Keeping
the
it
drama.
going.
Here we go. I've rolled a 4. Joe's rolled
A cock dice.
Rolled a cock dice.
I'll roll this one instead. I can't see it. It's also a 1.
It's also a 1. So I think I'm going to go first.
It's a strong move. So, game 2, over on plus.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
Well, I made a big gamble
Okay.
on my deployment because you deployed on an objective.
Okay.
But not much of your army can get to them. So I reckon.
In fact, I don't care what you think. I'm going first, guys. I won the roll off. It's my, prerogative?
Yeah.
I don't know what the word is, but I'm going first. So we'll see you now in my first turn.
Yeah. And where you'll be seeing me sweating even harder. Not just because of the heat, but the heat of the game.
You can sit in the corner if you want and rock on a
sob.
chair.
But it'll be fine. I can take it.
Now remember, I can spend 2 CPs to redeploy some of my units. And I'm probably going to do that. So I'm going to be spending 2 CPs pre-game to redeploy 3 units.
And I can't vet that.
You can't vet that one because it's a pre-game strategy. But I also can't get any CPs back either from Marnius Calgar. So I'm going to do that now, and then when you see my first turn, you'll see where the new positioning are of those units, and we'll rock out from there.
Yeah.
Over to my turn 1. So it's the Ultramarines movement phase, and the first thing that I do is measure out the threat range from the incubi. I then put the inceptors within 3 inches of that objective, along with the unit of intercessors there. I then advance my aggressors forward to go to the other side of the ruins to make sure they can get clear overwatch. Tigerius also made them -1 to hit for the turn, and then also I use the other units of inceptors to block the characters off in the corner of that ruin, and then put the other unit onto the objective. I then move the unit of eradicators to make sure that they've got line of sight to the first venom, and then I move the aggressors forward as my counterpunch ready for turn 2, and also within 3 inches of the objective on the left hand side. I then move the other 2 units of eradicators forward to get line of sight onto the second venom, or the incubi if they jump out, if I can destroy it from the first unit, and I'm making sure that the characters are within 9 inches because I can spend 1 CP to extend Calgar's rerolls to hit range, and then moving my lieutenant within 6 inches to get the reroll 1s. I then move the intercessors back onto the backfield objective and use the infiltrators as a screen against those incubi if they make a charge. So that concludes my turn of movement. So that's my movement phase complete.
Yep.
And we're on to psychic phase, shooting and all those.
You've got everything ready, lined up, ready to shoot. You've got your units holding objectives. What's your target priority? Target priority is actually just the 2 venoms. I want to try and cut off your legs, so to speak. I want to cut off your ways of getting engaged on all fronts. Yeah, taking those out really stunts my ability to get all over the board. Yeah, and my thought process was, if you don't position your incubi very well, maybe I can pick those up as well. Yeah. So that's my target. Null zone went off. I made my unit of aggressors at the front always fight first. So if you try to vexate a mask, it counters it, and it basically 1 for one, 1 for another, so it switches each other off, and then we're back to initiative order. And then what I'm just trying to do is use the 3 eradicators first that are in Calgar reroll range. They're getting rerolls to hit, reroll 1s to wound from the lieutenant, and I pick up that first venom, don't I? Yeah, you aced it pretty much with your 12. 6 shots. It was 6 shots, but then eventually doing a lot of damage. 17 damage to it. I didn't even bother. No, with the feel no pains. No point. Straight for the explode. So that exploded, incubi got out fine, and you did really well. You placed those outside of my threat range of the 18 from the aggressors, which was a really good play. Yeah, I need to have those still as a continuous threat in my turn, essentially. And then the other thing that I did, and actually I forgot to say this in my movement phase, I actually pulled the infiltrators back to screen out so that if you did want to charge anything, you have to charge them. Yeah. And then I made sure that they're within 6 inches of all my units that I want to overwatch with. Okay, so that was kind of the plan there. And then the other 2 units of eradicators picked up the other venom. Well, the first one picked up the venom, and then the second and the third unit of eradicators went for the unit of incubi, and I lightning fasted so that I could reduce a bit of the damage. And actually that did really well, because I think I only killed 2, didn't I? In the end, yes. So that was pretty much my turn. I was really happy with it. Again, got rid of the venom, slowed down the movement of those incubi, and that's about as best as I could hope for. I've got 3 banners up going into the start of my next turn. Killing 2 venoms gets me 4 points. So at the end of battle round 1, I'm finishing on 4 points. And I know that in the start of my battle round 2, I'm going to get 3 for raise the banners. And I'm also going to get 10 because I hold 2 objectives. But I don't hold more because you've also holding the 3 as well. Spread out and take those anyway. So yeah. I'm pretty happy with the scoreboard so far. Drukhari, first turn movement phase. I'm currently measuring out the movement of the unit inside the venom and the venom itself, knowing that I want to move up, take that objective, but also get an engaged in all fronts. Steve's positioned his inceptors there, which is really blocking me off, so I know that I have to make a charge to kind of get in there, because fire and fade won't get me across to where I need it to go. I then move my Archon to hold that backline objective, and then push my incubi up, knowing that I need to charge through that wall. I now measure out moving my racks up to hold that objective, because if the incubi make their charge, that objective won't be held any longer. I now start to move all of my Talos into the ground floor of the building, knowing that the aggressors can't shoot me because it's all blocks line of sight. I want to really pack that unit in there so they can't be shot. And then I move my Homunculus, Drazar and the Kronos up. The Kronos is also doubling up on that backline objective, which is quite good. I then change my mind with the Archon, bringing him back to the building where he was originally, then putting him on that objective where the venom is, because I want to charge with it and he'll be left unprotected. And then I pay 2 CP to move my racks up into the top corner there, so I get an engage on all fronts once that venom moves to charge into the Inceptors. So that was your movement phase, Joe? Yeah, it was a lot of moving pieces, and it's all setting up for the next turn, basically. So shooting, you only shot the venom at the Inceptors, you chipped off a wound. If I chipped off 2, the potential of the venom with its attacks at -1 may kill one. Happy days. That would be the luckiest thing ever, but it's always worth a go, knowing I'm going to charge into them. Yeah. And then the incubi made the charge. You went for the Overwatch because you've got the one CP to
Yeah.
do the Overwatch, and then you've got the additional CP to do.
Yeah, and how I interpret this in the rulebook is I have to spend 1 CP first of all to Overwatch with the unit, and then I can spend 2 CPs to then Overwatch with 3 friendly units that are within 6 of the unit that's charging me. Some people think it's just 2 CPs. Until I exactly know, I'd rather always play hard mode rather than easy mode.
You need to spend that CP to activate Overwatch.
Well, that's my interpretation. Now GW might FAQ that, but that's my interpretation. So you've then vected the Overwatch, didn't you?
I vected the Overwatch. It's always scary because I don't get a re-roll on it anymore. But
Yeah.
I managed to roll a 5 and it went off.
Yeah.
Depending on the interaction of how in the future, it might be a case that I'd have to vect the 2 CP for the other unit and then just take the 6 shots.
I actually thought you were gonna vect the one after.
Yeah.
Because you'd have wasted a CP of mine that would have not got back. Yes, the infiltrators can Overwatch, but they're not going to do much. And then if you roll a 6, you deny me 2 points then.
Yeah.
I actually think that would have been the better play, but you just wanted it vected. And
I just wanted it done. Take the risk out of the way, because if I don't vect that one, it's all happening.
And if my infiltrators do get lucky and I chip off, 2 incubi, then actually you're only left with 1. If he fails his charge, there might be no guarantee the next unit can. So, because then what can happen, obviously if you fail that, then you're out in the open. But now what you did there, you fought with a big unit of 5 first, didn't you?
Yeah, killed and paid 1 command point for onslaught so that 6s to hit generate extra hits.
Yep.
And just picked up the unit.
Yep. And then you piled into the eradicators, simply just to tag them so that I'm going to be -1 to hit when I fall back and shoot.
Yeah.
So it's just giving you a little bit more survivability.
It's pushing up on you and it's giving you a unit to deal with.
Yeah.
My hope with this one, I've got lots of units all over the place, which you have to deal with, and then the big scary unit, it's kind of lying in wait.
Yeah. And there's not really much I can do about the back objective.
Nope.
But I am going to try and take you off those 2 to stop you getting those 10 points.
Yeah.
But I can either probably shoot 1 off, but I probably won't shoot 2 off. So I doubt I can deny you the 10 points, so I'm probably not going to try and risk it. But I just want to try and deny, or I actually want to help myself get the 15 points.
The turn after.
The turn after. So I'm actually thinking, okay, so what's going to happen in turn 3? Where's the pieces going to be? So that's what we're going to play for. So you finish on 3 points.
I finish on 3 points, and I've got 1 unit already done.
Because you've got your engage on all fronts in 4 different quarters. So that's your 3 points. You've done one of your vital,
the deploy scramblers. I got that in the hard place first, basically. That means that it's a little bit of stress taken off, because I can activate a small unit somewhere in a building, either in the centre or my deployment zone with relative safely.
Yeah, love it. All right, so going into my turn 2 then.
Yeah.
Ultramarines turn 2 movement phase. I first of all start off with the intercessors to get line of sight onto those racks in the corner and also within 3 of the objective. I fall back my Inceptors to claim the objective off Joe, as I now have 2 models on it and Joe's only got the 1 Archon. I fall back the Eradicators out of combat from those Incubi, and then also move back the other unit of Aggressors to make sure 2 can shoot the racks, also claiming that objective. I then use the other unit of Eradicators and Inceptors to fill out all the space between the Talos and also my Aggressors, so that Joe can't place any of his Talos in any of the gaps. And then I move forward Tigerius to make sure I'm within 6 inches of the front line, so if Joe does want to charge me, he's going to suffer the perils of null zone. And then I finally move my intercessors around that objective to make sure it's fully claimed and that Joe can't just charge me and claim it off me. So that was my movement complete.
It was a big move.
Shut you down, didn't it?
It was a big push.
Really, that's what I kind of really want to do, was just shut Joe's movement down and making sure that he can't jump over my units. He has to hit those front screens of the Inceptors and the Eradicators, and they, for me, were losses that I would be happy losing. Then Tigerius, what a hero, smited off he cast null zone, he made the other unit fight first of Aggressors, and then he smited off those 3 Incubi.
I think we're not seeing many librarians
in
armies at the moment, because everyone seems to be taking 1 battalion, 1 patrol, and they're normally taking 2, maybe 3 characters, but it tends to be captain, lieutenant, chaplain.
Yeah.
Normally, I do think
Librarians are nice, yeah.
Librarians, he's got to be a must given custodians.
And him, Tigerius, not many people take him as well.
No.
He's real good because he gets +1 to casting and he can re-roll all dice rolls on. You can re-roll dice basically when it comes to casting powers. So in terms of my shooting phase, the 2 aggressors picked up the unit of 5. I didn't even need to shoot my unit of 10. You attempted to use a CP, and then I did tell you I've still got more shots to come, so you didn't bother. The Eradicators picked up the Incubi, or a couple of them, but then I followed that up with the aggressor charge. Killed off the other 2 racks that were on that objective, and then what I did was use the Inceptors to clear off the venom, which was on the right hand side down here. But what happened was I completely forgot the Incubi were in there.
Oh yes.
There's a big forget from that point.
Always.
And I thought, I have to charge them because all of my Inceptors killed that venom, and I thought it was empty. I should have asked. And I thought, I'm going to have to charge them because if I don't, then you can just charge my intercessors and then take me off that objective. So I thought, I'm going to try it. And then I fought first with the aggressors because I don't want to lose any aggressors. They're like important for me to...
Your prime unit. Really,
yeah, because they're my counterpunch. I need them. The Inceptors I can afford to lose. So went first over there. You then interrupted and picked up all 3, didn't you, with those Incubi?
Paid the 1 CP for onslaught. So it cost me 3 CP.
Yeah,
but
worth it.
But they just went mad, basically.
Yeah.
They got 3 or 4 extra hits on the 6s, and then I rolled 3 6s for 3 damage each at -3, and then I rolled 6 wounds.
Yeah. Just completely smashed them off the table, which was a nice play. And that was, again, I actually forgot you've got the 2 CP stratagem to fall back in charge anyway. But anyway, that was
play, 'cause if I didn't
it was still the right play because I was quite unlucky with my saves. You got lucky on your 6s to wound. It's a little bit swingy, but that's how it is. So that was kind of the end of my turn. I was quite happy with that. Again, I got the 3 points at the start for the banners, and I held 2 objectives, so that was good. But yeah, pretty happy overall with how I'm playing so far. And now we're on to your next turn, mate.
Okay. Drukhari, turn to movement phase.
Yep.
It was a go hard or go home phase, really. Because he's taking up too much of the board, just spreading out. So it was time to bring out El Taloso. They rolled out, just went straight up to the line, and then the Incubi that cleared out that unit of Inceptors went to the wall, ready to charge the Intercessors, and I brought Drazar out.
Big D.
Big D, he was just like, I'm going to make that 8-inch charge. Just you watch me. And he stood there, lurked on the corner. Steve couldn't even see him.
No.
Just ready to pounce.
Yeah.
And then I had the Kronos in the building, but in the end, I was like, I need more shots coming out of this building, so I advanced.
Because you really need to clear off those Inceptors, don't you? So then you can actually declare Tigerius.
Yeah, because he is the problem child of your army for me, because that null zone absolutely does.
And it's a big 5 points.
Yeah, I really need you to roll +1 followed by +1 in next turn. So if you could do that, that would be brilliant.
No problem.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
If there's anyone that can, it'll be me. Yeah.
And then shooting wise, Kronos shot first, got 6 shots, rolled 3 6s, which gives me the damage 3. 3.
Wow.
And you passed 2 of your saves. Well, you passed 2 of them, but I rolled a 2 followed by 2, so it's just like... No, I killed 1 with the Kronos, and then all of my Talos shot at them.
Yes, so that was right. And then what I was doing was shooting at your Archon as I was dying, because I was within 18, and I made sure I left the right model that is still blocking Tigerius. And he was left on 1 wound after all the shooting, but it was like real squeaky bum time for you, because I was making you... both of my Inceptors shot back in death, and I was just making you make those single saves, hoping for a 1.
Yeah, and then I shot with the... Homunculus' pistol, which wounds on 2s, hit him, which is a miracle in itself.
And wounded
on a 2.
I failed my save.
And I was like, yes.
And I was like, no, this is too big. CP reroll, passed it.
I considered vecting it. That's how big it was.
Did you even have the CPs to do that?
No, I was like, no, because I need to save the CPs
For the Overwatch.
for what comes next.
Yes. Yes.
So charge phase.
You know, that's interesting because if you'd have vectored that, then the first unit potentially gets annihilated from Overwatch, but then the next unit goes in and kills Tigerius.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. It would have been an interesting play.
It's a 365 point dead unit to kill Tigerius. That's a big swing.
I mean, I am hitting on 6s, wounded on 5s, but with 200 shots, probably going down a unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're minus 1 AP, so...
Yeah.
And I don't get... Well, I still get the 4-up save, so that's fine, but it's... I didn't really want to risk it.
No, you didn't.
I'm totally honest.
Okay, so that's how it played out.
Yeah.
You then fought first with the unit of Talos.
Incubi went into the squad of 5 intercessors. Big D made the big bomb charge.
12 inches.
He failed, re-rolled 12. He was having it.
Big D had the double V, didn't he?
And then it was the big push.
It was the big push, yeah.
Big push.
You vected my Overwatch.
I vected the Overwatch again, always scary.
Yep.
We did talk about, do I let the
Eradicator shoot?
So he spends that 1 CP and then let him spend the 2 CP again. But I was like, no zone's off at the moment, and he could, with full rerolls, he could just ace the whole unit. That would be a miracle roll because it'd be 6 6s followed by.
I think I only get 3 shots. I don't think I get double shots on Overwatch. You maybe lose 1 or 2.
Yeah, but it was fine. So the Talos went into the Eradicators and into the last remaining guy, and then the other 2 units went in. So another one went into the Inceptor and the Aggressors, and then the last unit just went for the Aggressors.
Yeah.
And I went against your Aggressors first, which was the right decision, I feel.
Then -1 to hit. I played Transhuman. You then played all rerolls to wound, and you killed 2.
There's 3. Because there's a 6-man unit, wasn't it?
5-man unit.
Okay, I killed 2.
You killed 2. And then...
And a half, because he's got 1 wound left.
They both fought back, did 1 damage to your Talos when they died, but then I spent 2 CPs to interrupt, and you actually used the Vexator Mask on that unit because my unit was always fighting first, so you basically cancelled out that. Then I spent 2 CPs to interrupt. I spent another CP to re-roll all hits with the Intercessors
on the Incubi.
because they're a troop unit, they can re-roll all hits, and picked up 4.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, it was big.
Because if you'd only killed 2, potentially could have picked up that unit. Maybe forced a good one. Because the Clavex on his own picked up 1.
And the reason why I did that was because I had to survive there. They have to stay on that objective for me, which they did, which was great. So you picked up the 2. I picked off the 2 models that force your next unit of Talos. If they wanted to attack the Aggressors, they would have to move in within an inch of Calgar and Tigerius. And now I'd be able to fight for free, and you wouldn't be able to declare me. So that basically meant that you couldn't fight apart from on the Inceptor, picked him up, and then the other Talos killed the 3 Eradicators.
Totally honest, I didn't want to give Calgar 2 rounds of punching the snot out of me.
And actually, Tigerius is pretty good. He's strength 6.
Yeah. So we just that unit of 3 just absolutely annihilated.
Yeah. And then because you didn't tag my guy, I was out of coherency. But because I consolidated back into coherency, I was then fine. 2 went on 1 unit, and I killed 1 maybe.
No. Nearly one was nearly killed 1 wound. But so. I managed to kill 4.
Yep.
But you killed 4 of my units, so I didn't manage to get
grind.
The grind. So,
no. But I did get a big game, or not a big game, but a bring them down on the Venom. So I finished that battle round on 19 points. You're on 11. We're going into my turn 3, and remember, guys, Joe has the turn 5 to do kind of whatever he wants.
I did manage to get
another investigate. No, beacons. Scramblers.
The scramble beacons.
Scramble beacon investigation.
Was done there, so all I have left to do now is my own deployment then.
And that'll be a big 10 for you.
That'll be a big 10 at the end. I just need to knock out some of your characters now. Yeah. Because that's just 15 points down.
And then you've got your engaged on all fronts again for another big 3 as well. So you're doing pretty well there. So 11, 19. Let's see what I can do in my turn 3.
Down to Tony the Tiger now and null zone.
Null zone. Shall I do it right now? See if it goes off. Just on the camera while it's here.
What?
on camera. Here we go. It's 2 5s.
It's 10. Goes off.
It goes off. Null zone's coming. Talos are going down.
I don't have any CP this turn either.
No Vex for you.
No bet. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck real bad.
So my turn 3. Let's have it. So the Ultramarines turn 3 movement phase. I first of all start off by contemplating where I'm going to fall back with those aggressors and if I actually want to. So the first thing I make sure I'm doing is bringing round my Eradicators to get a good line of sight onto those Talos and also trying to remain within 3 inches of that objective. I then pull back my intercessors out of combat from the incubi and just to make sure I'm still within 3 of that objective, pushing forward my second unit of inceptors to make sure that they can start to move on to the objective in the following turn. I then place Calgar inside the ruin to make a charge through there so he can't be overwatched if he does need to go in there, and I do decide to fall back so that I can get the maximum amount of shots as possible with those aggressors. And then all I'm making sure that I'm doing is getting enough range with Tigerius for the null zone so he goes round Calgar, and then to make sure that he can be placed, keeping the lieutenant within 6 inches of all the aggressors and also all of the eradicators to make sure that Seal of Oath can go off onto the unit that is on the far right hand side closest to the bottom, and then I can make sure I've got plenty of charges with the unit that didn't fall back of aggressors, and then also making sure that I can put the Seal of Oath unit with all the aggressors into the unit so I'm getting all of reroll hits and all of reroll wounds. With my movement phase complete, we're now into the psychic phase and I kick off with Tigerius casting Veil of Time and also Might of Heroes on that aggressor squad. We already know that I got off null zone and that will be removing all the invulnerable saves of the Talos within 6 inches. Next up, with the Veil of Time off and all my psychic powers that did successfully cast, I then put the intercessors which fell back into the incubi and they pick up those last 2, making sure that they're going to claim that objective until Drukhari runs over and kills them. And now because we've got 1 Talos with 1 wound left, I just used all the other weapons that I had from like the Lieutenant, the Company Ancient and all the kind of intercessors at the back there, just trying to chip off that last wound. But unfortunately, with a couple of good saves from Joe, I was unable to do that. And the reason why I wanted to do that was because I wanted to make sure I could be as efficient as I possibly could with then the Eradicators once he's dead. So I then used the unit that fell back, again because they do not get to fire twice when they fall back out of combat. Now, although I still am in the Tactical Doctrine because it's turn 3, those 3 did manage just to remove that last guy, which means then the first unit of Eradicators could go into that unit of 2, because obviously they've got the d6 damage potential where they get to roll 2 dice and pick the highest, so that actually converted really, really well into killing one of the Talos off. And then I put the next Eradicator squad into the next unit, and again with the 6 shots going into that unit, I think I got 6 hits and also 6 wounds. Just meant that Joe, had to make a lot of saves on this Feel No Pain because he wouldn't get his invulnerable save, which meant I think he did lose both of those Talos from those Eradicators. And then I put the big 5-man unit of aggressors into the Seal of Oath unit because I'm re-rolling all hits and all wounds, and I thought while I can I'm going to get a lot more sort of bang for my buck while I can get all the re-rolls, because I am wounding on 5s, so I'm definitely going to need the re-rolls there, whereas the Eradicators were wounding on 3s with re-rolls of 1 on the other 2. And what we were doing here to speed things up was I was rolling an aggressor at a time because they get 12 shots each plus 2d6 shots. So I was rolling 1 at a time while Joe was making his save. So you'll see that we're looks like we're both rolling at the same time, but I'm basically calling out how many saves Joe gets. And because I'm at a -1, Joe was getting his 4+ save on his armor save, and then obviously his 6+ feel no pain. I was actually tempted to spend 2 CPs at the start of my turn, so for every 6 I rolled, become another minus, but I chose not to, as I thought I might need a 3 CP to fight twice, because I knew that I wouldn't kill all the Talos in the shooting phase anyway, and I'm definitely going to need to make a charge. So that's what we did, and I essentially took down all of the 3 units of Talos, just down to 1 Talos remaining. One of the Talos did explode, doing a couple of mortal wounds for me, but Joe managed to shrug those off with his 6+ feel no pain. And then finally, the last thing that I had to do was just charge in with my unit of aggressors that had the power on them so that they always fight first, and I declared all 3 Talos. So rolled my charge, I think it was a 4 that I needed, and managed to get all of my guys within there, and also staying within 6 inches of both Calgar and also my lieutenant. So I get rerolls to hit on 2 of the units, with a reroll 1s to wound on the other unit as well. So because Seal of Oath happens both in the shooting phase and in the fight phase, so I put, I think, 2 guys on 2 and then 1 guy on the remaining one that had Seal of Oath on. And I think there was 1 or 2 Talos left at the end of my first round of fighting, so I did spend the 3 CPs just to make sure I could completely finish off all of the Talos, as to be honest, I didn't want to have to face them next turn. You know, falling back isn't great for me, means I wouldn't be able to push on, and being able to fight twice just means I can consolidate once more, gain a little bit extra movement, which I knew would then help me push into the next few turns, and really kind of put the pressure on Joe by removing all of his Talos, because what I don't want his Talos to do is you know, move out of combat for some reason and kill one of my, you know, characters that are obviously going to potentially deny me 5 points on while we stand we fight. So yeah, I decided to do it in the end, got rid of the Talos, and ultimately then maxed out all of my bring it down points as we go into Joe's turn 3.
Drukhari, turn 3 movement phrase. I start off by moving the unit of Cabalite warriors that were deploying the scramblers in the centre of the table into my deployment zone onto that objective. And then I moved Azar up to take on the intercessors in combat, knowing that he'll probably pick up the unit quite easily, and then move the Archon round to hold that objective from a slight bit of relative safety. I then measure out where I need to put the Kronos in terms of getting engaged in all fronts, knowing that if I move him over where he is positioned, he's going to really struggle to get in even if I charge. So there's got a lot of consideration going in. In the end, I decide to advance him as close as I can to the end of that building, knowing that I can shoot, and using my free command point this turn, I can fire and fade over those eradicators and get into that top corner. This is a very quick and easy shooting phase, as it's simply just a case of shooting the Kronos so that he can leap over the eradicators. I then put Drazar into combat with the unit of 4 intercessors, and he quite easily picks those up. Then I end the turn holding the engage in all fronts. We notice that the building has moved, so Drazar isn't holding that objective, but that's perfectly fine, because where he's hiding at the moment, he's pretty safe.
So we thought we'd show you how this game is going to close out. Rather than you watching all the turns, the game is pretty much concluded. We're going to show you how this actually can happen. So if you do get in a situation where you've got to talk it out, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that as fair. Joe's obviously still here, so he can be part of this process. And if you're ever unsure, go get a judge, and you can obviously speed this up very quickly. So I'm currently on 46 points, Joe is on 39. Now remember, on VT Plus, we're going to show you what happens when Joe goes first. Joe really needed first turn in this game, and I think it'll be interesting to see what happens when Joe does go first. So it's 46-39 to me. Now, Joe has just got his engage on all fronts, which he's done really well. He's currently on 9 points for that. And the only really way Joe can score is basically on the primary, and he can also then get the engage on all fronts, maybe one more turn, and he's maxed out his deploy the scramblers. Now, he won't be able to get the grind them down, and all I need to do is keep my 3 characters alive. So if we work through my primaries first, so into turn 4, I'm on 2 objectives, Joe's on 2, so I'm going to get another 10 points there. Do you agree, Joe?
I completely agree.
You completely agree, good. Then in terms of bring it down, I've maximised that, I've killed all the Talos, I've got max 15 for those. So I can't do anything any longer in terms of bring it down. Then in terms of raise the banners, this one I still have, this one I still have, and this one I still have. So that means I'm go up to 9. I was on 6, I'm now up to 9 with that one. And as long as I can prevent Joe from taking me off that for the next 2 turns, I'm going to score another 6 points and get my 15 for that one. While we stand, we fight is to keep him alive, and Calgar. Joe's got no chance at killing those, would you agree?
No, Drukhari could give it a whirl, but it doesn't look.
It's not looking likely. No. So I'm probably going to get my 15 points for that, okay? So it's my turn 4. Let's literally talk through what's going to happen. The only threat to me really is Drukhari. So all I need to do is I'm just going to move this off there just so we can see a little bit easier. I'm going to move my aggressors 5 inches to there. And then I'm going to need a 7 for a charge. So they're just going to move to that position right there. They can't shoot anything. I can't do anything about this Archon. Would you agree?
No, he's a bit far out of your way at the moment.
He's obscured, and these guys here can literally move out 6 inches. And what I'd probably do as well actually is advance them 1 inch. It's probably not going to be enough. I'm actually over 4 inches away, so it's not even going to be enough there to get within 3. So what I'd probably have to do is keep them there just within 3 inches there. Now I can bring my banner over just in the middle here, and he is now going to make these aggressors obsec to get near there. Then the eradicators can literally just move forward 6 inches, or 5 inches even, not 6. So move 5 inches forward. I'm still going to keep this unit here, so I've got more models within 3 inches of this, otherwise you'll claim this off me. So that's really important, otherwise I lose that banner. And then literally this turn, Tigris will move to there. He'll cast Null Zone, that's something I will actually have to roll. It goes off, and then these eradicators kill him. Do you agree?
Yep.
Cool, so if you remove him for me. Then these 3 aggressors here, or these 2 aggressors now, are literally just going to move forward, and they'll probably advance actually 5 inches, and they're just going to go there. And all I'm looking to do is get an angle on these Kabalites next turn. So that's that. Characters would just move forward into the middle. Lieutenant I don't need to worry about any longer. So actually if I don't need to worry about the Lieutenant, I'll just bring him back on that objective. Calgar can move to here, move his 6 inches. And now we're going to attempt 2 charges. So I can't do anything about those Kabalites, do you agree?
Yeah, they are well out of the way.
Can't do anything about the Archon, can't do anything about the Homunculus, so all I can do here is attempt, well, first of all, manifest the power to get reroll charges, which I get off. Then he's going to charge in on there. I get a 2, so I can re-roll that. It's a 5, they fail. Calgar will attempt the charge as well. I'll CP re-roll that one. He makes it with a 10. So Calgar goes over to there. And then Calgar, 7 attacks, hitting on 2s, re-rolling any misses, but he'll hit. Wounding on 2s. That's 6 go through. I'm in the Assault Doctrine now, so I'm -4.
So I've got a 5-up in one, and I only pass
2.
2.
So 4 go through. Yeah. 4d3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I've got 6 dice here. I'll re-roll 1. Well, he's passed 1. I just need this next dice to be a 6, and he's live on 1 wound. Oh, so close. No, he's dead.
So The big D, he's gone. He did a good work though.
He does the work on killing intercessors and small stuff, but not so good against chapter masters.
So that's literally my turn 4. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to score 10 points.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're on 2 objectives, but you're not on more than me.
No. The homunculus can get into this table quarter. The Cabalites can get into that table quarter. The Archon can move over there.
Okay, go on in. Quickly do that then. So he moves how far?
7.
7 inches.
So out of range of Calgar for heroic intervention.
Yep.
These Cavalite warriors go here.
Yep.
And then he can just stay in this table. So I am giving up objectives, but I am scoring 2 points on.
Yeah.
And
actually,
engaging all front.
Because otherwise, Calgar's going to run over there and kill you anyway.
Yeah.
And these guys are going to move into there and kill him.
Yeah.
And they'll probably move to get a line of sight on the Cavalite. So again, you're thinking ahead there, which is really good. You'll get your well, the Cabalites are still on that objective anyway, aren't they? So you would get your 10 there. You get another engaging all front, so that takes you up to 11. You stayed outside of heroic intervention range over here. So then at the start of my turn, I'm going to get 15, so I get 45 maximum on the top. Raise the banners, I get another 3, so I'm up to 12. I'm completely done now. I can't score anything else apart from at the end of the game what objectives I'm on. So all I'm going to make sure is I've got these 3 objectives nice and tight. They'll just advance just to basically get that there. These aggressors will move over as well just to doubly make sure I've got this. He'll go to there and then Calgar will go in, punch him. So I've got that objective, got this objective. That will give me another 3 at the end of the game for the banners. Now over here, if you can move me 5 inches, can I draw a line on those Cabalites? Probably not, no. So all I can do from this point is
charge the homunculus.
I can charge the homunculus there, yeah. I'll go in there, charge him in please. I'm not going to fail a 2-inch charge. You'll make me fight last, obviously.
Yeah.
There's nothing else I can actually do. So you make me fight last, so you go first. Do you kill anyone?
Fours. 1 wound.
I'm okay. Minus?
Okay. Nothing.
Okay. Then my attack's back. Hitting on 4s.
Wounding on 2. I'm toughness 5.
Okay, so 2 go through then. Okay, so 2 go through. Invuln saves.
1 goes through.
D3 damage for 3. So I'm not going to kill you. You don't kill me. I only take a wound off you. And then your turn. Calgar over there gets the...
Well, we can easily assume that through the combined shooting and punching, Archon's probably going to die. Yeah,
I would probably agree with that. I mean, even if he doesn't, let's just roll it out. Because I did advance those guys. That's 3 saves on him.
So first one, second one is a 3.
Yep.
And then the next one is a 3.
So he's okay?
Yeah.
So he probably doesn't kill Calgar back, so we don't need to worry about rolling that out because I half full damage with a 4-up invuln and 2-up save. But that's fine, you can just stay there. So at the end of your turn, I'm going to max out my raise the banners.
Yep.
So I'm going to get 15 there. So I finish on 100 points. And then you're going to get 5 points because you're on an objective.
Yep.
Okay, so you get on the top 5, 10, 15 plus. So you get 25 on the primary.
The homunculus can just fall out of combat.
Fall out of combat,
the
yeah.
Archon can continue up in that direction out of range.
So he's going to fall back, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cabalites stay where they are, so that gets me another 2 on engage.
Yep, so you go up to 13. And I didn't kill anyone. I don't think you're going to kill a unit, are you?
No.
So that would be total of 23 on the bottom, 25 on the top, which is 48 plus the 10 for painting, 58. So it's 100 to me and 58 to you, Joe. So we'll see what happens on Vanguard Tactics Plus when we swap this over. So over to the debrief.
Yep.
So there we have it, guys. The game is over.
Thank God. The pain, the suffering has ended.
The pain train?
Yeah.
Now, we've actually just been talking about list changes to Joe.
Yes.
So we're going to go on to how Joe's going to change his list, aren't we, in a minute?
Yes.
But we obviously want to conclude the game. Now, on VT Plus, we go into real detail. I think there's like a 20-minute video from each of us of why we deployed in the way we did, and go through all of the stages of thinking for that. Also, what we've got there is when we're going to do this game again. But Joe will be going first, and this time I'm going to let Joe tweak his list.
It's very generous.
I know. So that's what we're going to do this time, because I think it'd be really nice to see a couple of little changes in your list. I like it, but I think a couple little bit of finalising will just really bring it to the forefront of the game.
Yeah, because your list is incredibly optimised. My list ran really, really well at the Vanguard Tactics Grand Series. Like, really well.
Yeah.
Really well with it. Didn't come up against Null Zone or Def Hex once.
Yeah. And the thing is, Tigerius is so consistent with being able to cast it, and your whole army revolves around your invulnerable save. So when that's gone away, then you're in big, big trouble.
I could play my list as like a hideaway kind of army, just using pure muscle on objectives, which could work, but then you literally just systematically work your way around anyway.
And I think that's something on VT Plus we try. We play this game super cagey, because you could have done that. And I actually think you go for the mission one, or potentially one of the new secondaries we're going to talk about. So in terms of your deployment, were you happy there?
I was perfectly happy with my deployment. With the Incubi and the Venoms, you have to play aggressive with those, because they need to be a constant threat.
And actually, I mean, I killed a couple of Venoms turn one, and that was it. The Incubi still managed to hit. They still managed to remove some units.
The Incubi always make their points back, if not double, triple it.
And so let's go through the one mistake I did feel you made was turn one. You only had one unit on each of those objectives, so it's super easy for me to basically kick you off those. That was one thing I would have probably liked you to, you know, maybe conservatively put the Venom on that objective, and the Archon turn one, and then the Rax plus something else over on the other one, maybe the Homunculus, because then it makes it really challenging for me to kick you off those objectives. And otherwise you'd have had another 5 points on the board. So sacrificing a couple or 1 point for engage on all fronts, just get the 3 rather than the 4. I think you actually overstretch yourself a little bit to get that. So I would have liked you to play a little bit better on the primary just by doubling up on those objectives. And I think because my firepower is so forced, I have to deal with certain things, and it's such short range. You can use the obscured buildings a lot better potentially. I mean, and you definitely start to do that towards the back end of the game once you start to get your head around the terrain a little bit more.
Well, the one that struggles with against Ultramarines in general on the type of your list is the moment you hit the middle of the table, it's just a big cross of firing lanes. And if basically you can delete my army in one round of good shooting. Providing
I've got Null Zone with me.
Provided you got Null Zone.
And as we saw with those Eradicators in the aggressors, and the aggressors that fell back, so they can't double tap when they fall back. But they can certainly, I mean, and then with the counter punch, and then I fought twice, didn't I? Just to clear that off. So yeah, at the end of, I was really happy with how I played. I thought I played my secondaries really well, and you know, I managed to get 3-3-3 on raise the banners every turn, using my obsec well, and then because I hold them at the end, I get another 3. So I max out. Well, I scored 45 on the secondary, which I was really pleased with.
Your Inceptor staying alive, that one Inceptor blocking the way through to Tigerius, that was big, because if I could have got 3 Talos into him, I would have killed him. Admittedly, you probably would have fought in death and picked up the unit, or half the unit, but that meant that you wouldn't be doing a huge amount of damage.
It would have been a lot more of a slog. I'd have had to commit like Calgar into combat, all those different things. I'd have definitely had to fight twice. So it would have definitely been harder in that next turn. So maybe you'd have been a couple down, but I think that would have certainly helped. I don't know if it changes the result of the game in terms of the points, but it would have helped you certainly score a few more. Even if you kill Tigerius, it does even deny me those 5 points as well.
It's only just 5 points, and it means that where you would have ended on 95 points instead of 100. But also in a competition-based thing, just collecting up those few extra points doesn't affect the win-loss, but when it comes to ties
in placings,
it can just push you up just a little bit further.
So when Joe says a tie, he doesn't mean like literally you draw the same with somebody else. Like a draw, he means a tie in terms of the ranking. So let's say places 10th to 15th have all got the same amount of wins and losses. It's whether are you number 10 or are you number 15, or are you often what you'll see at a competition, even a 100-man event, the 4th place person could be on 4 wins and a loss, but also the 15th person could also be on 4 wins and a loss. So are you 4th or are you 15th? And that will just come down to how many points you manage to score in your loss and how big you can score in your when you are winning. So I was really happy with how I played. Like I said, I would like to see you double up on those objectives a little bit more. But all in all, I think you going first with a slightly tweaked list will help. So what is going to be the new list?
So the new list, I am dropping the Archon. Because he doesn't do much in my list apart from hold objectives.
He did score points pretty well, to be fair.
He scored points pretty well. He picked up an Inceptor, and he can raise banners because characters can raise banners. Apparently.
No, they can't.
It's one of them. There's one of the secondaries he can do on an objective, which is fine. But he doesn't do much else.
But he can't raise banners though.
So I'm replacing him with Yvraine.
Yeah, and why Yvraine?
Because she gets +1 to cast, +1 to deny. And it means that with you chucking out null zones,
there's a 50-50 I fail because you've got a chance to deny and a good chance to deny as well.
With the +1. So she's definitely worth taking. If I run her in a pure Drukhari list, she only has targeted smites, really.
Pretty good.
Which is pretty good. She could pick up a couple of aggresses, or she can do, which gives me another choice on secondaries, where she can do the psychic ritual in the middle of the table.
Or interrogate characters.
Yeah, so she can, as long as she's an 18 inches, I think it's like a 5+.
Very simple, and you get the +1, so should be pretty easy for you to achieve. So not only does that bring you a deny in the list, but smites are really useful. Like if you can pump out anywhere from, and she gets that +1, so getting a super smite is a little bit more likely. And also the Ynnari have a power where if you roll a 6, once you cast it, I think it casts on a 6, you then roll a dice. If you roll a 6, you do another d6 mortal wounds. So that could go quite well, and then all of a sudden you could do like 10 mortal wounds in a turn. Or even 9, and you pick up 3 aggressors. That's big.
And all I have to do is drop her. I do have to drop the Kronos, which hurts me a little bit because I lose the reroll to wounds bubble for wounds. But because the homunculus is still in the list, I can still pay 2 CP, reroll all hits, or reroll all wounds, which is fine. And the remaining points left over, I can give my homunculus and my 2 units of Rax guns.
And why is that good?
Because it means they can move, advance, shoot the assault gun, which is a flamer. It's strength 3, -2, 1 damage, but it means I can fire and fade them, so they can actually move quite quickly.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, really like that, and I think that little change, and we'll be interested to see what happens on VT+. So all you need to do is check out the link below and you can go and see that battle report that me and Joe do, along with how we deploy, and loads of other tactics are going to be on there, along with our lists. All the imagery, artwork from all of this stuff is going to be on there, available for you to get as well. So guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on another battle report. See you later.
Goodbye.
So if you want to be in for a chance to win and get your hands on all the massive giveaway that we have, the mat, the battlefield, the Indomitus box, the Catachan kernel and everything else, along with a full day playing with myself and Joe here at Vanguard Studios, then all you need to do in order to enter that competition is the very simple thing. You need to head over to the video in the description below and you'll see that marked as how to win the prize. And then once you've done that, like the video, comment below, and then also join our Learn to Play video course that we have available completely for free. Now, if you want 10 times your chance of winning, then all you need to do is take the quiz at the end of that to test your knowledge of how much you know about 9th edition. And that's all on the links below this video.
So if you like that video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get updated for anything that we release in the future. Then head over to the channel and have a look at some more of the stuff that we've done. And I hope to see you in more videos in the future.